Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Foots here. As always, thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing. BetUS, BetUS. Thank you so much, BetUS, for sponsoring this channel. Listen, NBA, NFL, college football, the playoffs are coming up, so that's going to be very interesting. Like I said, the NBA season has been pretty cool. You know, I've been in NFL mode, but as you get into the off season and stuff like that, you start betting on NBA, you start seeing plays, rebounds, assists, all those types of things. BetUS has you taken care of. All you got to do is use YouTube 150, get a cool discount. BetUS, BetUS. Thank you so much for sponsoring this channel. Now that football season is officially over, we can really start to do a deep dive on some of these backs in this class. And I had my preseason rankings, but now I look at how these players played throughout the year. And I'll be honest, I had to do a self-scout and a self-correct on a few guys. I'll give you an example. Ollie Gordon was high on my list in the preseason. Ollie Gordon's not even in my top 10. Now, he is an honorable mention. I have 7 honorable mentions, but he didn't make my top 10. So let's talk about how we're going to run these ranking systems in these top 10 lists, more or less. I give my thoughts. If you got thoughts, I'm not mad at it. Have thoughts. That's what we're here for. We're a draft community, whether you're a fan of the Cowboys, whether you're a fan of one of these players, whatever brought you here, let's have thoughts. That being said, if you have thoughts, leave them in the comments because my list may look different than yours. But as I give my list, I'm also going to give my round breakdown, like where do I think that they belong and what do I think their role is. Listen, I'll be honest with you guys. There's about 5 guys on this list who can come in and be bell cows right away. Like, that's just the type of power that this RB class has, is that deep. It reminds me of the receiver class from last year. While last year's running backs class was, Jonathan Brooks, and I hope he gets better. He just had the season-ending injury in Carolina. Guys like Trey Benson, Blake Corum, those guys are cool. And even Bucky Irving, he's having a really good year in Tampa. But those were like, 3rd, 2nd round picks, maybe 210, maybe 205, maybe don't meet the size metric. You look at some of the guys on this list, they're special. And so, like I said, let's get to the honorable mentions before we even get to the ranking system. Cam Scatterbo, physical runner. He didn't even make my top 10. I mean, he had a great game versus Iowa State. DJ Giddens, he's a very savvy, make you miss, really good wiggle, really good hands type of guy. He's number 2 on my honorable mention. Trevor Etienne, not the fastest, but just a workhorse, gritty type of back. Georgia, SEC football, somebody's going to get a steal there. Raheem Rocket Sanders, South Carolina. Love his game. Big bruiser, another guy who, if he's there in the 5th round, and you want a workhorse type of back, a lean on you type of back. His foot quickness could be better, but I like Rocket Sanders. Ollie Gordon. Ollie Gordon was somebody who was like 3 or 2 on my list preseason-wise. He didn't even make the list. Taj Brooks and Jaquavius Woody Marks, also 2 really good backs that just get the job done. Listen, Woody Marks against Penn State, who has a good defense early on in the year, had a really good game. So those are my 7 honorable mentions. Those guys are honorable. So imagine what this list looks like. Let's get into the top 10 running backs in the 2025 class for me. Let's go. So I got a surprise for you guys. The bonus number 11, Kyle Monangai. I couldn't leave him off this list, and I didn't want to make him an honorable mention. Kyle Monangai, guys, his game against Illinois was crazy. 1,200 yards in 2023, 13 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry. He's just a bowling ball. Really does remind me of Maurice Jones-Drew. He's not going to be for everybody, but I really love Kyle Monangai's film. I just feel like he just is a guy who gets it, gritty runner. The problem with him is he's not very fast. His superpower is he's just gritty. He's just physical, low to the ground. I call him a poor man's Ashton Jeanty, but I love Kyle Monangai. He's number 11. So I gave you guys 11 instead of 10 because I had to get my guy in there. Number 10, Brashard Smith, former receiver, now running back, 14 touchdowns, 5 yards a carry, 5'9", 196 pounds. His superpower to me is the guy is just shifty and has amazing hands. Like, and his weakness is probably his power, but what he can do in the passing game, and he runs angry for a guy this size. I really like Brashard Smith. I think that he comes in, he has some of that Bucky Irving to his game. I actually think that he's a little bit faster. Brashard Smith, to me, if you need a guy and you're an OC that wants to get guys on linebackers, wants to get guys in space, I think that Brashard Smith fits your scheme perfectly. I have a 3-4 on him, but it wouldn't surprise me if he ended up in the 2nd round because he's going to test really well. Number 9, Nick Singleton. Nick Singleton, and you watched his game versus Oregon. He had a really big run early in the year versus West Virginia. This guy is a powerful athlete. His superpower, he's just tough. Like, he just runs hard. He just runs physical. Was a Bruce Feldman freak list guy. He just has that it factor about his run game. And he was one of the guys that kind of crept into my list early on in the season. I was like, Nick Singleton, I'm not really. And the more I watched him, the more I really appreciate his game. I don't really like Penn State's scheme. So what he was able to do at Penn State mixed with what he had, because you got to think he was sharing carries with Kaytron Allen. And I like Nick Singleton a lot more than Kaytron Allen. His superpower is his athleticism. I think that his creativity could be a little bit better, but his superpower for me is definitely his athleticism. I really like Nick Singleton. Number 8. Ohio State running back TreVeyon Henderson, 5'10", 208 pounds, 108 carries this year, 751 yards, 6 TDs. His superpower to me, he's just a polished runner. Now, obviously, he was sharing time with Quinshon Judkins. Henderson was a guy that you thought would have came out last year. He came back. I think that he had pretty much a comparable year this year. Again, like I said about Penn State, I don't really like Ohio State's scheme, so I don't think that he's been completely unlocked. He's more of a two-back system. So some of these guys, for me, can be bell cow, get the bulk of the carries. I don't like that for TreVeyon Henderson. Actually, I think Ohio State had the right mindset with him. I just don't think that they fully unlocked his game. One, because the quarterback play at Ohio State just isn't great. He can catch the ball really well. They didn't do that enough for me. And then just the run schemes. But you see a guy with decent long speed. I would explain him as a guy that's pretty decent at everything. So that's why he gets the number 8 spot. I have him as a 4. Low-end 4th round, high-end 3rd round guy. He'll come in, help a team on teams immediately, and I think that he could be a spell back early on and then graduate to a 2-back system. Number 7, one of my favorites in this class, like literally one of my favorites in this class. His game against Colorado was the most. Kansas running back Devin Neal, 5'11", 215 pounds, 219 carries this year, 1,200 yards, 16 touchdowns. His superpower is vision. Vision. He also has really good hands. His weakness to me is long speed, and I think that he is going to run fast. What did I write down in my notes for Devin Neal? I think that he is going to run fast, but I see him as a guy who, when I wrote it down, he's quicker than fast. So he's going to make you miss. He's going to have a feel for the game, but he's not going to run away from you. But as the game goes on, as you get him involved in the passing game, as you get him involved in certain gap scheme runs, I think that Devin Neal can come in and he'll start off as a spell back. He'll end up taking somebody's job because he just has that type of vibe to his game. One of the things that I like about Devin Neal is he's competitive. In that Colorado game, he did not want to lose. He put the team on his back. And so that's the type of stuff that you just can't coach. I have a 2-3 grade on him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's a late 2nd round pick because teams are going to fall in love with this guy. Number 6, Oregon running back Jordan James. This guy has grown on me so much, man. 226 pounds, 226 carries this year. So 226 pounds, 226 carries, 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns. His superpower is footwork. His weakness is finish, but it's crazy because I think I just had to put a weakness. But, like, he actually does finish well at times. I just want to see him finish more. Like, on short yardage operations, like, you need to know how to get that first down. But, dog, when you watch this guy play the Penn State game from this year, you watch him battle against Boise State and going up against, he didn't actually physically play against Ashton Jeanty, but he ran the ball tough that game. This guy has some stuff that you just can't coach. He's another one of those guys that's like good at everything, and he grew on me. I didn't have him in my top 5 as a guy to look for this year, and he grew on me. You see, he's at 6. So I just like his feel. I like his game, and I like what Dan Lanning is doing at Oregon. Their offense is really mature. Dylan Gabriel, they throw him swings, so he has some of that maturity to his game, and that's why he got the 6th spot. I really like Jordan James. I have a 2-3 on him as well. You're gonna see a lot of these 2-3 grades on these guys because, again, they're pro ready right now and they have the size. 5'10", 226, that's a big physical imposing back. All right, cracking the top 5, and this may be up for debate for some of you guys, is Tennessee running back Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson, 5'11", 200 pounds, 256 carries this year, 1,400 yards, 22 touchdowns. He's a touchdown machine. That's what he was at Tennessee. His superpower is his speed. There's no way around it. His superpower is his speed and his contact balance. This guy will run away from you. Hence the 200, hence the 20, not the 200 touchdowns, the 22 touchdowns this year. His weakness would probably be size. He's only 200 pounds. I don't even know if he's going to weigh in at the combine. But you watch, he had a run against Georgia. So he's getting 2 yards, he's getting 3 yards, he's getting boom, touchdown. It's like he left a Georgia defense that is really, really fast, that has studs all over the defense, has Malachi Starks back there. He left that defense in the dirt. And so when you see runs like that, you move him up, especially against a defense like that. I really like Dylan Sampson. He can catch the ball. Again, his frame is not going to be for everybody. But if you are an offensive coordinator that says, you know what, I like his physical play, I like his mentality, he has really good play strength, he has really good contact balance, like I said, Dylan Sampson is one of those guys. Again, 2-3 on Dylan Sampson. I really, really like his game. I think that he fits a West Coast scheme. You get him the ball quick and gap schemes. Dylan Sampson, Tennessee. I would put him in last year's first round, but there's so many good running backs in this class. He just would be a 2 for me. Number 4, Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State. Now, this will be another controversial one, but when you look at his size, 6 feet, 220 pounds, 147 carries this year. Again, splitting time with Trey Henderson at Ohio State, 805 yards, 8 TDs. His superpower to me is his burst and his acceleration. And his size. Like, for him to be that big, he's bigger than his teammate Trey Henderson, and he's probably faster and more explosive. He reminds me of Alvin Kamara. He has that burst. He has that contact balance. One of the things that I like about his game, he's slow to the hole, fast through it. So he'll see it, boom, hit it, and if you don't get hands on him, it's a wrap. I just like his vibe. He catches the ball well, but like I said with Trayvon Henderson, I just don't like the way that the Ohio State offense was called this year, and it really hurt them in the Michigan game. They don't do a good job of scheming guys open. That's how you have to use a guy like Quinshon Judkins. But if you have an offensive coordinator who can do that, I would really draft him early in the second round. I mean, these guys are quality backs. I don't like him as being a lead back, but he's also a guy that has to get touches to get going. Quinshon Judkins, Ohio State. And now we'll get to the big 3. And this will be even more controversial probably than the first 7 picks and the first 7 backs that I rated. Omarion Hampton. Now, Omarion Hampton for some people is RB2. Omarion Hampton for me is RB3. Omarion Hampton is a bruising, physical, hard-running, hard-nosed back. 220 pounds, 6 feet. He looks the part. 1,600 yards this year, 15 touchdowns. His superpower is explosion, finish, and in-game strength. The Florida State game to me that's who Omarion Hampton is. As the game goes on, he gets stronger and stronger and stronger. But one of his things with his game is he wants to physically try to tap you out. He's been on record saying that. He runs the ball in that way, meaning if you're a tackler and you're not bringing your lunch pail, he will try to run you over. He will run through arm tackles. There's times, though, that when I watch his film, I'm like, Hampton, why did you just run into that pile? Let's make somebody miss. I want him to be a better creator. That's the only reason why I knocked him and why I didn't have him 2 over my next player. He just doesn't create well enough for me, and every scheme won't be for him. I don't like him in zone schemes because you got to have that natural vision to bounce it back. So unless the RB coach is really going to coach that part of it hard, that's not really in his game. He can run away from you. He's going to be a 4-4 guy, but his vision could be a little bit better. But Omarion Hampton, special player, number 3. Oh, and I forgot to mention with Hampton, I would have a first-round grade on him. I don't know if he'll go in the first round, but watching his film, he's a first-round player for sure. Number 2, and I won't say it's like splitting hairs between him and Ashton Jeanty, because we all know, for me, it's not going to change the combine. Nothing's going to change the playoff. Ashton Jeanty is my number 1 back. I don't think that's a spoiler alert. But number 2 is Caleb Johnson, and he had the highest ascension this season. His game is mature. His body is mature. Guys, 6 feet, 225 pounds, 240 carries, 1,500 yards, 21 touchdowns. The difference is he is Iowa's offense. They had nothing else. Normally, Iowa has some sneaky good tight ends, and maybe these underclassmen will turn into something. Quarterback play, not good. O-line was really good, and they provided certain holes, but it was the Caleb Johnson show. But who he is at heart, guys, he is a mature running back. Zone schemes, understands how to get what's blocked. Gap schemes, understands how to get what's blocked. He knows how to give his body up. He knows how to run through you. He does just enough in the hole. He's just quick enough to make you miss. Then he's going to run away from you. He has his stiff arm. He has just enough lateral quickness. If there's anything that I will want him to clean up, it will be maybe adding more in his bag laterally, but everything else, it's all there, guys. He's running back too. He's so clean of a runner. No wasted movement. Some of these guys, they're so clunky with the way that they run. It's like, did you guys ever run track? You don't have that issue with him. He runs like a receiver. He runs like he's like a gazelle, but he knows how to hit certain holes. He knows how to bend it against the flow. He knows how to use defenders' angles against them. Caleb Johnson is the real deal. I have a first-round grade on him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going in the mid to late first round because he's just that good of a running back. Great in pass pro, great catching the ball, natural hands. Caleb Johnson, Iowa. Running back 2. And number 1, you guys knew who it was, King Jeanty, Ashton Jeanty. The guy is as advertised. I mean, 5'9", that's probably going to be his only weakness. He's 215 pounds. He's really compactly built. You get to 29 touchdowns. You get to pretty much 2,500 yards on the year. Guys, we're not going to find reasons to knock this guy. If you want to say any knock, it's going to be his size, but that's not a knock because teams can't find him. He's playing against 8-man boxes. He still makes guys miss. He still runs away from guys. He has it. It's all there. They don't even use him in the passing game because their quarterback is actually sneaky good. It's all there with Ashton Jeanty. He has it all. And I think the thing that people are going to do, mark my words, is they're going to find reasons not to like him. They're going to find reasons not to draft him. They're going to find some D lineman or some project DN that just, oh, we could take this guy over Jeanty, who's a proven entity. And I think that's a mistake. I think that this guy has put everything on tape that you need to see. Gap schemes, zone schemes, breaking tackles, power, knowing how to finish certain runs. He has it all. I think that if teams make that mistake, they're going to be kicking themselves in 5 years because he's going to be a Saquon Barkley type running back. He's going to be a Derrick Henry. He is that type of guy. Just because he's small doesn't mean that he's not special. And we have to stop doing that and putting that label on people. He's not Deuce Vaughn type small. He's big. He's running through guys. And people say, oh, the Oregon game was just one game. Yeah, I don't like that. I just don't. You don't get to 2,000 yards, 2,500 yards with not being special. So you guys let me know what you guys think of this list. Again, from my honorable mentions to my number 1 back, if you guys want to debate me, just come in the comments and let's talk about it. These are Foots's 2025 running back rankings. If you don't like them, it's okay. But I did the work. I watched the film. I filled up pages of notes because I love you guys. So thank you guys always for liking, sharing, subscribing. Thank you BetUS for sponsoring this channel. As always, it's your boy Foots the King. Hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for growing with me. Draft season is here. Like right here, right now. Peace.